I'm not sure what I'd look like if I hadn't done it, so I'm happy.
Kenny Rogers used to be known for his strong looks, but then he decided to have some risky cosmetic procedures, and the results were far from perfect. But what happened? Why did Kenny get these procedures? And what is actually going on with his face these days? After some time in the entertainment industry, Kenny realized that his professional outward image was just as important as his music. He learned that he would need to reinvent himself if he wanted to have longevity in his career and stay relevant in an ever-changing landscape. Kenny said that he realized just how important his outward image was, which was an ironic realization considering what he did next, because he was about to make changes to his image that he couldn't undo. Still, Kenny came to the conclusion that if you're ever afraid to change your image in show business, your days are numbered. So he decided to do something drastic. Around the late 70s, Kenny changed his appearance in a major way. He cut his hair, got rid of his signature glasses, and ditched the earrings he had in his ear. He suddenly felt so much more like himself instead of some constructed image. It was a moment in his career that was really huge for him, and it was also a milestone that paved the way for his later plastic surgery. But looks had always been important to Kenny, especially in his younger years. He said that growing up, he always wanted to blend in because no kid wants to stand out too much. To Kenny, standing out got in the way of his dream of being accepted. It's funny for a celebrity to say this, but he really wanted anonymity at a young age, something he'd totally lose with the success he'd later enjoy. But even though he wanted to blend in more, he still wanted to be noticed by girls. Kenny admitted that he had been girl crazy since the young age of 6, and the desire to be appealing to women may have been what pushed him to go under the knife for more than just a little nip and tuck. Kenny admitted that the reason he got plastic surgery was because he had the money to do it and the time off to get it done. He started looking in the mirror, wondering if he could look a little bit better after doing a little something. Kenny said the surgeon who operated on his face told him that he was one of the best surgeons on the planet. But then again, you'll never find a plastic surgeon who advertises their average or the worst. So who can say for sure if Kenny got what he paid for? Kenny said this surgeon had a concept that the edge of your eyes needed to be a little higher than a certain place. It probably sounded good on paper, but ultimately Kenny regrets this operation. Kenny had already undergone a variety of cosmetic procedures over the years, but he didn't talk about them publicly until his eye surgery in 2006, because that one obviously didn't turn out the way he expected. When plastic surgery is good, you don't even know for sure that it ever happened. But that was definitely not the case with Kenny's eyes. It's unclear if Kenny had unrealistic expectations for the procedure, or a surgeon just wasn't skilled. Either way, he didn't come off the table looking the way he expected he would. When you look at younger pictures of Kenny, his eyes seem much more masculine with low eyebrows and a natural space between the upper eyelid and eyebrow. It was part of his signature look that made him look manly and friendly at the same time. But his regrettable eye procedure left him with excessively high eyebrows and too much space between his upper eyelids and his eyebrows. He also got an unsettling space that was left hollow above his eyes. To put it simply, Kenny's plastic surgeon raised his brows to a height that doesn't look right on a human face. To make things worse, he removed too much of the skin around his eyes and lifted the corners of his eyes too high. This made him lose that natural masculine look his face originally had. It's a shame that Kenny and his surgeon weren't on the same page about their goals and expectations, because things may have turned out differently if they were. And one of Kenny Rogers' legendary peers in country music had something to say about his work. And she's very much an expert on the importance of getting good plastic surgery, because she's had more than her fair share. Dolly Parton and Kenny always had a relationship that felt like a brother and sister over their decades of friendship. Dolly has said that one of the last times she saw Kenny before he passed away, she was able to joke with him about the work he had done. Dolly told Kenny that she was glad she got to live long enough to finally see him grow into his facelift. Kenny thought it was one of the funniest things he'd ever heard. When Dolly jokes about your plastic surgery, you know she knows what she's talking about. Dolly said that as Kenny's skin got looser in his older age, he started to look more natural again. Dolly admits that anytime you go under the knife, it's always a risk. She actually prays to God every single time that it all works out fine. Dolly said that she understands it must be harder for men because there's a stigma around wearing makeup, and they can't just apply things like fake eyelashes like women do. She also said that Kenny really did see one of the best doctors, and we all know that Dolly knows her plastic surgeons. Dolly said that you can have all kinds of cosmetic procedures, but when something on your face goes wrong, the whole world will know about it. That's why she just tries to do little things at a time and steers clear of big procedures. Nowadays, she just sticks to filler and Botox when she really needs it, but even then, she tries to be as careful as possible. Ultimately, Kenny regretted his decision because it forever altered his classic look, even if he did eventually grow into it. But despite having regrets, he said that he didn't know what his face would have looked like if he hadn't done something. He could have been walking by the mirror every day wondering how things might be different if he had gotten some work done. Kenny even joked that his eyes could have been dropped down to the floor. Something people probably would have also been talking about just as much as botched surgery. But anyways, what do you guys think about all this? Did Kenny ruin his eyes with surgery? Is Dolly Parton the plastic surgery expert? Let me know in the comments below.